So, welcome to the SCHLiNGEL Talk. Now I have here on my side Nicole van Kilsdonk, and we will talk about the film Okay, Thank You, Bye, or Okay, Thanks, Bye.
Yeah.
And it's a very special film, of course a beautiful film. I enjoyed very much watching it. And it's about people who have problems with their ears, with hearing. So deaf people and hard hearing people. How did you came to choose this subject for your film?
Yeah. I once shot a film for grown-ups, and I shot on a school for deaf children because the main person was a teacher in this school. And I was there, and then I realized we don't know anything about the deaf world, and it's just people like us, but we don't see each other much, which is actually very strange. So I thought I want to know more about it, and the more I knew about it, the more I started to research, the more I thought it would be really nice to make a film about this, in sign language, and also give those children, people, a face, because it's strange that we keep them separated while it's just people like us.
It's like a complete different world,
Yeah.
and there's not a lot of connection. Yeah, if you see people making signs, how was it to work with them? So the both actors, the main actors you had, the roles are Jamie and Imane.
Yeah.
Did they really have problems with hearing?
Yeah, so Jamie is really totally deaf, and Iman is deaf when she takes all out of her assistance, like she has this hearing apparatus, and when she takes it out, she's deaf, but if she has it, she can you can talk, but it helps to sign, but you can make yourself understood. And for Jamie, that's really difficult. You need an interpreter. So yeah, step by step, because first we had a script and we did a lot of research and we talked to the deaf community and to deaf people who read the script also to make sure that we didn't make mistakes and that they agreed. But then of course I started casting, and of course the Netherlands is not a huge country, so there were not that many girls that applied.
Mm-hmm.
So then I realized, okay, I've got the script and everybody likes the script, but
To find somebody who's playing it is
it really realistic to make this film? It was even before we really know that we could make it. I did a sort of test, and the first half an hour, although I knew a lot about it, I felt very uncomfortable because I realized I don't speak your language. They all spoke the language.
Yeah.
Like you all speak German, I understand German, but if they speak Chinese, I don't understand. And now they spoke sign language, and I was left out, and I had an interpreter, and I learned bit by bit. For instance, also like don't
So
talk to the interpreter.
did you learn to make signing?
Yeah, but it's like this.
Yeah.
We did a course. The whole crew did a course, and then during the shoot we learned all the practical stuff, like a rolling. It is really like rolling, and all kind of things.
And it was cut in the end.
But also. Übenen, practice. In Dutch, it's like this is like this. I understand or I don't understand, but I couldn't do this conversation in sign language. I always need somebody.
So when you started making the film, you didn't knew what kind of adventure you was going in?
Not really, no. And it really took me time. I first had a sort of little panic attack, but we had a really great interpreter, and also because I thought, yeah, I need good girls, but they also must be able to really act. So, and at a certain point, I found Jamie. She was really beautiful and natural, but I had a harder time to find Iman because she has to be a bit tough, and yeah, I found that because we don't communicate so much with each other, girls that are dare to be tough, deaf girls. There are maybe not that many because they're more insecure. And I really think also by doing the film, they got more secure of themselves by doing all this. But it took me we did a lot of rehearsals, and then I found out how can I make myself understood, how do I work with interpreter, how can they communicate with me, how can they trust me. And one of the things that people do, for instance, then they talk with the interpreter instead of to the deaf person, but you really have to talk to the
Deaf person and the interpreter.
And
Yeah.
interpreter is interpreter in the same time. And now for the crew, it became very normal. But of course, the first day, everybody was a bit, okay, this is different than normally. But yeah, and I hope
Perhaps
other
for-
people see that too when they see
For the
the film.
people who have these problems, it's perhaps not so easy to show this. They have these problems in front of the camera. Was this perhaps a reason that not so many girls applied because they didn't want to show up with their handicap? Or,
I think maybe also that because it's not so normal, maybe you never thought like, I can act. Of course, they're 13 years old, so they're not in a profession yet. But also because it never came to their minds. In Holland, there is a theater school for deaf people, but it's really only everybody's deaf. It's their own community. And of course, it's nice that we interact. So I guess some of them were shy, but also I think they never really thought of it. And then also Jamie, she never thought of it, and then she came, and then she was so technical and she was so good, and she thought, oh, I really like this. And she could really play a really small and natural, and yeah.
yeah, she's doing a fantastic job.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she wants to go on making some acting or.
After the shooting, she said, but now of course she's back to normal school, and then we'll have to see. But what I think now is for me that I'm gonna try, and when I go make another film, that it's not about deaf people, that I can try and have these girls or other people in it, just as a
So that it gets more natural and not,
Yeah.
not this focus on this handicap or
Yeah.
on this problem.
Yeah.
So what did you learn? What did you enjoy by doing this film?
So much, so much. I mean, I do enjoy, the older I get, I enjoy being on the set. In the beginning, when I was younger, I was only nervous and happy that the day of shooting had finished. Now I can really enjoy, and that we are creative with the whole team. But yeah, I think we all felt very intimate with each other, with crew and cast, and that we could really work together with them, and everybody had a really good time. We shot last summer when it was really hot, and it was just very special that we succeeded in working together. And they found a new world, the film world. We found a new world, the world of the deaf, and that's just very special. Yeah.
So was it your first feature film for children, or have you had other experiences before?
No, I made, I think, 3 children films and a TV series for children before, 2 TV series. So I try to alternate between films for grown-ups, films for children. I think it's very important to show films to children and who are very different, not all the... You see a lot of animation, a lot of American films that do well in cinema, and I really think it's interesting in Europe to try to make different kind of films, and hopefully children see this or in festivals. And I like to work with children. I think it's quite tough directing them because, of course, they don't have any education. But if they really give something to you, then I think it's really special. I can really enjoy it working with children.
What I like very much at your film is you get an impression what it means not to hear correctly, because you did a lot on the sound. How did you work with the sounds to give the audience an impression what it means to be deaf?
Yeah. So we did. On forehand, we thought we're gonna manipulate the sound that sometimes you only hear what Jamie is hearing, nothing, or just a beat of the music, but we didn't really know at what point. We knew we were gonna manipulate it, but so we recorded everything. But we did very soon in the editing already think, okay, in the concert we're gonna take it out, or in the train, so you understand like everybody's getting information, but they cannot get it. So, and we found out that we just did it when it worked, it worked. Not say like, oh, every time Jamie is in the frame, it's silence, but just when we thought, oh, it's interesting now to take away the sound, to let the audience feel how it can be like. But from the other side, when we were in Paris, you just hear the noise of Paris. So it really, per scene, we manipulate it, but I think it's also important. Also, the beginning of the film is very silent, and you have to. I noticed that the audience always gets a bit like, oh, is it going to be in sign language the whole film? Is it going to be so silent? No, because we're going to meet the other world too. But it's interesting when they sit on the table and they just do this and they sign and they slap on the table.
And you hear nothing, so it's really, really special. In the film, the two girls want to go to Paris. So after your experience, is it a realistic setting? So would they manage with deaf people to do this, or what do you mean?
Well, manage, that's of course, that's sort of coming of age. That I don't think people would like their children of 13 years old go on their own.
Alone to Paris,
to Paris. And I asked this morning in the screening where they were 15 or 16 and some said, I would do that. And others said, no, I don't know. But 13 is quite young. And especially when you're deaf, you're, no, absolutely not. And for instance, the girl who plays Jamie, she never went on her own on the train or to the supermarket or anything. So there's
always the parents with her or somebody?
But bit by bit in your life, you have to have the confidence that you can do it and that you can, by your face or by writing down, or get stronger. And of course, in the film, it's exaggerated because it's quite an adventure. And I don't think I would feel fine if my daughter would be like that on a train and then a different train and then on a bus. So it's it's not totally realistic. But
how do children and young teenagers react when they see the film? You had the screening this morning.
Yeah.
What are the questions?
It's always funny to see that grown-ups ask other questions than children. Children ask more practical, like, what was wrong with the train? What happened to the grandma? What did she break? Are the children really deaf? Which I think it's really important to understand that maybe 20 years ago people would take actors who weren't deaf, but I think you should not do that.
Was this an idea for you to take people who?
No, from the beginning we knew although it was a challenge, we really knew we had to take real deaf children. Also because you cannot fake the language, it's really difficult to learn. So you cannot, as an actor, learn that, and you cannot improvise. But also out of respect to the deaf community, because they don't see themselves and in the pictures only as an interpreter on the news or something, but they don't see themselves as actors. So I think it's really important that they see themselves and think, yeah, this is really someone like me, and who's deaf and who just takes the train to Paris.
Was it that the actor said, "Oh no, in the script, this experience for us it's different," and you had to change something on set because they were so?
Not really. Actually, that was really nice when we started to rehearse. Like the train scene, Iman Dua, she said, "Oh, this is what I have all the time when I take the tram or the train, and I don't hear anything, and it's terrible." And like in the supermarket, Jamie, she said to me, "But yeah, I don't know what to say because I never go to the supermarket on my own." And I said, "Yes, because that's what the scene is about. You don't know how to do it because that's the way it is." So and we had it read by an older, deaf man who has worked in film also, so he understands the reality of film, that sometimes you have to make it bigger, but also really knows how it is. And he read the script for us, and we had an interpreter with him, and we talked with him for 3 hours, and he really said all the things like, "Oh, I recognize this I would say just a little bit different." And so we really checked with him, and then in the editing we checked again with deaf people if there were not things that are really not recognizable.
Were there a scene where you were surprised that it was more difficult to shoot than you thought in the beginning? So what were challenges or the most difficult scene perhaps you had to shoot?
I think what we had to rehearse a lot was the signing of the song, because we pretend that she is translating at the moment, right in the moment, but of course we rehearsed that. But it's really difficult because it's a song and it has a rhythm that they cannot feel. So we really had to find out how we're going to do that. And the guy who read the script with us also helped us in doing this and standing on the table and not being shy and doing it in the right rhythm. So that was...
and they're also creating a song, the lyrics for a song with the hands. Yeah, this was also a very nice
and
moment.
so the guy who advised us also said when he read the script, okay, this is going to be difficult. How are you think you're going to do it? And I said, okay, please come to the rehearsals. And yeah.
So you had time to rehearse all the scenes before you were on set?
Yeah, so I explained everything that happened, and then we don't do the whole scene, but because also you don't shoot everything in the right order, so that they knew, okay, now we're into the castle, now we're into the train. So yeah, so they, and also that we knew that the lines were right, that they were going to say, yeah. And to get used to each other, that I can see what are the strengths of them, and they can see how I work and trust me and ask questions.
So they don't had to learn lines by heart, because, or did they learn the text then with the signs?
Yeah, well, what very often I've done several children films, and when the children are really young, I don't give them the text, because when they learn them by heart,
it sounds ugly. Yeah, you have to.
So I say to the producer, don't give it, just give it to the parents. They can read it once and then throw it away, and then I tell in my own words what happens. And then, but when they're older, and when you see when they have the talent, sometimes I do give them the scene. I let them read it once, because children have a fabulous memory. They read it once and they know exactly what happens. So that's what I did with them. So I told them the scene, we rehearsed. Then some weeks later, I gave them the scene. They read it, and I took it away. And then most of the time they knew it, or they found their own words in doing it. Yeah, but I had to find out how to do that. Yeah.
Okay, and so was the film in cinema already, or is it? When will it?
Yeah, well, actually, we made the film for television. We have this, like in Germany, you have the kleine Fernsehspiel, I think. Like
okay, yeah,
TV,
TV
films.
movie.
But we really wanted, because we thought it was a really important subject, we wanted to show in festivals also. So after it was on television, we made sure we had the rights of the music, and so that we can show it in festivals. And now it's traveling around the world. So it was not really meant for the cinema, but now it's going really well in all kind of festivals.
Is the deaf community supporting the film?
Yeah. We thought it was really important to. That's why we had them watch the film also. When we had the premiere in Holland, we invited the whole school of Jamie, who was the one and only high school.
So she is in a boarding school for deaf people?
Yeah. So we invited them, and yeah, because I think it's really important to not only make it with them, but also, make sure that they see the film.
So the deaf people also enjoyed the film and liked it.
Yeah, and I heard, I wasn't there, but there was also a screening in Sweden. The writer was there, and they invited a big deaf community and deaf school from Sweden, like 500 children, and they were in the cinema, and yeah, they applauded really.
Yeah, they make like this for
because they recognize all these things that we don't want to look at as a problem, because they also have a secret language that we don't understand. So that's, I hope that it's going to happen more and more, that also, we mix this and everybody can see the film.
In German we say Inklusion, if we try to that everybody does things together, even if they have a handicap or something.
Yeah.
So this is one part of it, to make the people come together and work together.
Yeah, and also when you see them, like Iman, well, she's a tough kid, and she's not different than any other kid. Yeah.
Nicole van Kilsdonk, thank you very much for being here, and thank you very much for your beautiful film. Okay, thanks, bye is the title. And perhaps you want to say to people who are watching, why should they see your film for the ending?
I hope that very many people watch the film, because I think it's a cheerful film, it's a musical film, although the children in this film are deaf, and it makes you optimistic about the future, I think.
I can recommend the film, so go there, watch it, and thank you for watching. Bye-bye.